So the most important question to most investors, besides, the obviously the entry amount to, enter the program, also at what mark can they exit their investment. So for Portugal and Panama, it's very clear at the 5-year mark, once you're switching the status, because obviously you have a choice to participate, ongoingly in the Golden Visa program. However, at year 5 for both Portugal and Panama, you have the option to retrieve your investment and apply for a different status. Hungary, it's kind of conditional, so it's, you will, for as long as you're maintaining the permit of the Golden Visa, because it's actually not possible to apply for the citizenship as far as I remember, in Hungary. So yeah, you would have to hold the investment. I'm going to dive into Portugal specifically. So there are 2 ways to participate, at least the 2 that we will cover today. There is one more, which is really not friendly to any of our prospects. There's a lot of bureaucracy involved. So the first one being an investment into a CMBM regulated fund. The total amount has to be 500,000 euro, which is half a mil. It can be diversified, so you're free to do, as many funds as you want. I would say a sweet spot would be around 2, maybe 3, but if you prioritize the timeline and the submission date, then probably go to max. The CMBM is essentially a market security commission, so they are these certain funds are accepted and regulated by the said institution. Donation option is either 200,000 euro or 250. It really depends on the area and the project. So if you prioritize the timeline, then the 250 might be available first. But if you're willing to wait a little more when the project is available, so it doesn't really work in the same way as, let's say, in the US, where you have, certain projects like travel project going on forever. Here it's more about, something approved by the government, you donate to that specific project, and, it's one and done. The entire process can be done 100% remotely. You're not, you don't need to come here up until the biometrics appointment. So as far as the residency and the citizenship goes, the requirements are 2 weeks every 2 years. 2 years is the validity of each Golden Visa permit. Once you have reached the 5-year mark, you can apply for a permanent residence. It's actually a GPR, so it's a Golden permanent residence, because you, as a former Golden Visa permit holder, do get an advantageous special permit as well when you switch. And of course, the citizenship would give you, and as well as the PR, travel to 186 countries. So as far as like family and exit go, there is no age limit, which is one of a kind in all of the Golden Visa programs, because most of them, they would have an age cap here, for as long as you're single, studying, and dependent, not you, actually your child, then they may be eligible for participation. Also, main applicant as well as the spouse can bring their parents to the application. You can exit after 5 years, as we mentioned before. The requirements for PR or citizenship would be A2 language test. And after PR, actually, this is also a really important thing. So once everyone is applying, all family members for PR at the 5-year mark, everyone becomes their own individual permit holder. So there are no longer any dependents. You don't have to maintain any dependents as a child. So let's say, someone reached the age of 25, they no longer have to be single, studying, or be financially dependent on you. So they just have their own permit, which they can use however they like. Okay, going on to Greece Golden Visa. It's quite different from Portugal. The investment is mostly into real estate. There are different tiers of that investment. So the top tier being 800K, those for the areas of Athens, Mykonos, Santorini, and I think it's also Saloniki. Then half of that amount would be for less populated regions. And the lowest tier being 250K for commercial real estate converting into residential or the heritage building restoration. The investment must be held at every renewal. So each permit will be issued for 5 years. And if you wish to continue, you must have that property still to apply. So residency criteria, there is 0 minimum stay. However, you do need to have at least 1 entry within the validity of that permit, meaning 1 entry in 5 years, which should be attainable. The permit itself will give you the full Schengen access, so you can travel once again across all the EU members of state. There is a big catch in terms of the permit in Greece. You do not have the work rights. So you will not be able to perform any activities, commercial activities, where you can earn anything pretty much. And unlimited renewals, which is also very important. Citizenship and family. So for their citizenship, and this is why, the profile of the client who's seeking, let's say, Portuguese golden visa or Greek golden visa is different. So in order to obtain the citizenship after completing, the 7 years in Greece, you must have had resided there for 6 years, 2 months to qualify. If within those 7 years that you've held the permit, you did not fulfill that criteria, you are not eligible. Another criteria to apply is a B1 Greek and cultural test. So B1 is a higher level than the A2 back in Portugal. Both parents, once again, are eligible from the main applicant and the spouse. And the property transfer strategy for the kids that are 21 plus. So there is a cap on children. I think it's 21, yes. And there is a bridge to 24. So there are certain exceptions and it gets a little trickier, but that's where the property transfer could be performed, or another property must be purchased in order for them to maintain their participation.
Right. So I'll take over for the rest of the program. First, we will go after Greece. We have Hungary. So Hungary is also a fund investment, but different from the Portugal Golden Visa, which has like tens, almost like 40, 50 different investment funds that you could choose from. In Hungary, there's only 2 approved funds only. That's because Hungary started much later. It only started 2 years ago. But the Portugal Golden Visa with the fund route started in 2017. So it has almost like 8 years, 9 years of history, and a lot of funds have been like created for the Golden Visa within this period already. But the processing is quite fast for the Hungary Golden Visa. It takes about 2 to 3 months. And the fund exit can be at year 5, but the whole permit lasts for 10 years. And it can only be renewable once. So from 10 year, at the end of 10 year, it can be renewable once, but you need to either keep the investment or reinvest again at the renewable time. So have to keep in mind the maximum terms of the resident permit is 20 years. And there's also no stay requirement for during the 10-year or for renewal. Also, similar to Greece, you need to be almost full-time residents there for the whole 8 years to be eligible to apply the citizenship, and a B2 Hungarian language is required. Also, one point is kids can only be your dependent if they're under 18 at the application and the renewal time. So the next one of the EU program is the Italy Investor Visa. It has quite a large range of investment with different category, from 250K of a startup to 500 to like funds and shares, to 1 million donations and 2 million government bonds. There's also a catch in the Italy investor visa is that other than the investment, you also need to rent or buy a property to fulfill the requirement there. It also has a pre-approval pretty quick within around 30 days. And one of the benefit is that there's a flat tax of 300K per year on foreign income. So this is for people with like ultra high income globally. And if they want to choose Italy to be their residential tax residency, they only pay a flat fee of 300K. So obviously it's for ultra rich or high income families or individual where they have millions of income each year. So where they would maybe be taxed like 40%, 50% somewhere else, but in Italy, they only pay a flat tax fee. Also, there's no minimum stay for the permit, and citizenship is 10 years. Also, family members only for kids under 18, and dependent parents are notoriously very hard to be included. So they need to be financially dependent, physically dependent, and the applicant needs to be the sole caretaker. So after the Italy Invest Golden Visa, we have the Panama. As we said, this is out of EU region. It's in the Central America, but it is a real estate investment of 300K US dollar. And you can directly get the permanent residency in about two months or so. And everything can be applied remotely until the biometrics. And as Nikita said, you can exit from the investment after 5 years. And there's no impact for the permanent residency, nor if you want to apply for the citizenship, there's no impact on your path. One of the benefits for Panama is there's a zero tax on foreign income, and the requirement of residency is just one visit every 2 years, and you can apply for citizenship after 5 years. There's also more advantages for family members because the kids you can include up to age 25. But only main applicants' parents are eligible to be dependents, and spouse parents are not eligible. And for Panama, the citizenship, you need Spanish and cultural test as well.
And if I could just add one little thing about Panama. So once you do obtain the Panamanian passport, it actually has a visa-free travel to the EU. So you will also have 90 days Schengen access on top of that. Specifically, probably interesting for non-EU visa nationals.
Okay, and the last one is São Tomé. Actually, the Panama investor visa started last year, and also São Tomé also started last year. So these two programs are fairly new. São Tomé is different from all the other ones that we've talked about. It's a donation program where you donate either 90K or above, depending how many applicants are there. And it's an approval first model. So you get approval first and then you donate. So there's no risk of being rejected, and you can get the passport within 2 to 3 months, and no visit is ever required. And it's very generous in including family members. So kids up to 30 can be included. Parents and grandparents over 55 can be included. They also one of the few programs that accepts Russians and Belarusian nationals. So we do have like Russians having inquiry about a second passport. So this would be a good solution, a good program or stepping stone for them. One of the things that we need to talk about is that São Tomé is part of the CPLP member. So the Portuguese empire of like with the Portuguese language empire. Okay, so with the citizenship of São Tomé, actually, if you also apply for Portugal citizenship later, you don't. First of all, you don't need to have the language exam, so that's a waiver on that. And also, currently, the Portuguese government is having a review on the nationality law. So there might be a fast track program for citizenship of the São Tomé. So if you combine São Tomé first and then with a Portuguese golden visa, you might be able to fast track your citizenship. So this is the 6 programs at a glance, and you can see why there are certain programs that are more advantageous than the others in different areas. For example, the exit, it's Panama and Portugal where you can exit after year 5. And processing time, there are some that are quicker and some that are slower. For example, Portugal now is taking 9 months to about a year and a half, but it's already much more streamlined than even 1 year ago. Yeah. The minimum stay, most of them are very minimal. So, and the EU passport, it's very stand out. The Portugal program stands out of having the end goal of a EU passport and not needed to live there, and also the children's age limit as well. And what about, okay, so a lot of our clients, they are applying for the golden visa as a family with their kids, minor kids, and they talk about, so what happened to my kids if they go over 18 or age out? So here we have a snapshot of the different programs. So as you see, Italy and Hungary, they must be under 18. And because citizenship is not easy to get, so after 18, they probably won't be able to renew their permit and won't have the citizenship. Same to Greece, but they have a higher age limit of 21 or bridge to 24. Panama, so you could get the citizenship if the kids are still under 25. São Tomé, it's an immediate citizenship program. And Portugal is one of also the standout where after you get the PR, actually, it doesn't matter if he or she it's already over the age limit or not studying, not dependent, because it's an independent status. So as you can see, out of the 6 programs, we have 4 clear winners. Number 1 is Portugal, because you get the EU passport, one of the strongest passport in the world, and also without relocation. So it really doesn't affect golden visa investor so much, since you don't need to live here. You can start the clock as soon as possible, like go get the PR first and then wait for the time to apply for citizenship.